all the details they requested about his past. Contained within a 36-page police report is one paragraph where Moss says he once ran with a street gang in high school. Police say they would have been startled had Moss not had such a connection.
That would have been more surprising, just given the nature of their pervasiveness in our high schools and what's actually occurring. That would have been more shocking than him admitting that, yes, he ran around with some kids who were involved in gangs.
Police weren't the only ones shocked when Moss's candor made headline news.
I don't see the purpose to be served by this headlines that Brent Moss has gang ties, other than to kick somebody when he's down.
During Moss's interview with Detective Marion Morgan, the former running back also states a couple of his ex-teammates also have old gang ties. This, too, made front-page news.
I'll go in and ask any gang members, please put your hand up. I've never felt that we've had a problem that way.
Tongue out of cheek, the coach is visibly tiring of the Moss story.
I've said everything I'm going to say about Brent Moss and Brent Moss's situation, about being affiliated with a gang or whatever. I know one thing. I can look myself in the mirror and know that I dealt with things properly.
The coach kicked Moss off the team for drug possession. The player's attorney says Moss is dealing with that, but now he's got this.
Hopefully he's strong enough that we can recover from this too. But it just doesn't seem to me that this is all necessary.
Joel Despaigne, WISC, News 3.
Moss has agreed to talk with us about his gang ties, but is waiting to do so until after he meets with his attorney tonight.
Investigators looking at Monday's double murder inside the prison at Portage today refused to confirm reports there may be more than one killer.
Officials said John Chris Scarver is one suspect, but they're not ruling out anyone else, including 3 prison employees and 2 other inmates who were in the area where Jeffrey Dahmer and Jesse Anderson were beaten.
News 3's Nancy Johnson was at the press conference today, attended by state and local investigators. Nancy, reporting live on News Star 3.
John and Katie, was Christopher Scarver acting alone, or was there a murder conspiracy? And did someone create a diversion so that these attacks could happen? Were other guards involved? Were inmates involved? And what was the motive? Those were the questions asked today as reporters met state and local investigators. The answers to all the questions were much the same. Quote, we're still investigating, or no comment. Officials were extremely tight-lipped about what happened, while some sources report that there will be surprising developments to come. There were none today. And although officials did say it appears guards watching over Dahmer and Anderson did follow the rules. The state named a 5-member panel to investigate this. One of those panel members was The state named a 5-member panel to investigate. One of those panel members was Gerald Boyle. You may recall that he was Jeffrey Dahmer's defense attorney during the trial. And they're investigating to make sure that guards followed all rules and procedures.
Nancy, are there any safety precautions being taken at the prison?
Well, tonight the prisoners are all on lockdown, and they'll be on lockdown until the middle of next week. And guards are all ordered to come in for duty, and all days off for guards are now canceled. And authorities say they're doing this for the safety of the staff and of the inmates.
Nancy Johnson, live via News Star 3 in Portage. Thanks, Nancy.
Confessed child killer David Spanbauer may make life difficult for authorities. The 53-year-old has confessed to 3 murders. Spanbauer is already charged in the deaths of Cora Jones and Trudy Jeske, but he hasn't been charged yet with the murder of 10-year-old Ronnie Eichstad. And the holdup may jeopardize all the cases.
But until he actually enters a plea, he can plead not guilty, okay? And we can have trials. Or he can attempt to recant his confession and suppress it. I mean, all sorts of options are open to him.
His attorney says he's been waiting all week for Iowa County to file charges, and his patience is running thin. Authorities in Iowa County would not speak about the case. A senior citizen held up First Federal Bank on State Street in Madison this afternoon. Madison police say a woman in her 70s walked into the bank just before 4 and demanded money and got it. Police aren't sure yet if the woman had a weapon or threatened anyone. They're looking for a white woman about 5'4" in her 70s. Tonight at 10, we hope to have surveillance video of the suspect.
A governor-appointed commission wants to shake up state government.
The group unveiled several proposals this morning that raise a few eyebrows. Our Roger Putnam has details.
I agree with that.
This morning, the 15-member SAVE Commission took another shot at changing the way government operates. It unveiled a passel of new initiatives for the legislature to chew on. The recommendations include the creation of a public leadership institute to encourage state employees' participation, input, and leadership, selling existing public schools to the private sector and managed under state guidelines. Turf assessments assessed on state and local governments. The money would be returned if it can be proven there's no duplication of services. And sweeping sunsets. All agencies, rules, taxes, and entitlements will end unless their existence is justified to the legislature next year.
I'm hoping over the next 2 to 4 years, enough controversy will come out of some of the proposals and some of the things left on the table that some of us will continue to carry along, that people will be compelled to look at what we're doing as state government.
But the price tag of change is unclear. That troubles some commissioners.
Yes, there are some exciting, bold thoughts, but we're perhaps a little preliminary until we see the fiscal aspect or what it's going to really cost or save.
Of course, it will take tremendous gumption for lawmakers to walk into uncharted legislative territory.
One of my biggest concerns is that when all this goes to the legislature, that some legislators or group of legislators exert some little pieces, without doing the whole package, which creates a much worse problem than we currently have.
Expect more controversial proposals in the coming month, proposals that will outline agency cuts, consolidations, or eliminations. Roger Putnam, WISC News 3.
The final SAVE Commission report due to the legislature on January 10th.
Children learn to live with a devastating illness.
And getting over the winter blues.
Dr. Zorba Pastor, coming up, the treatment for seasonal affective disorder.
You're watching News 3 at 6 with Katie Sy, John Karcher, meteorologist Janet Pyatt, and Van Stout.
People came from all around Wisconsin today to praise an alternative form of health care.
But kudos for network chiropractic may not be enough to stop a ban against it. A state committee heard from a standing room only crowd today. Traditional chiropractors and their governing board want network outlawed. They say 10 licensed chiropractors use a gentler method that's pseudo-spiritual and doesn't follow professional standards.
As I understand the practice of network chiropractic, they choose to ignore those things that they have learned in schools.
But network chiropractors say they use only college-taught techniques. Patients like the lower price and end results.
It's a personal choice. It doesn't mean that it's any religious affiliation or anything like that. It's just a personal choice of health care.
The committee chair says she probably won't call a vote on the proposed ban. If that happens, the ban will automatically take effect.
Previously, our doctor on call, Zorba Pastor, talked about SAD, seasonal affective disorder. It's a fatigue, lack of ambition, and depression that often occurs when the days get shorter like they are now and the nights get longer. So how can you beat it? Here's Doctor on call, Zorba Pastor.
Seasonal affective disorder is caused by a lack of sunlight, and how that affects our lifestyle can affect its treatment. Hi, I'm Dr. Zorba Pastor. The most common first-line treatment for SAD is to get more sunlight. The simple way, take up a winter sport. Try ice skating, skiing, maybe some hikes in the woods. And when it's warmer, jogging or walking on a regular basis at lunchtime will increase the amount of sun you get daily and give you the added benefit of aerobic conditioning. Another way, if you can sit in front of a window while you're at home or at work, it may help. It's not as intense as going outside, but it may be all that you need. The next treatment is a provocative treatment, high-intensity light. Some researchers have found that intense indoor lighting delivered by a box or a stand-up high-power light source will reverse SAD, especially in resistant cases that don't respond to the earlier treatments that we discussed. The jury is out on whether these more expensive treatments work, but for anyone with severe seasonal affective disorder, this may be something worth considering. I'm Dr. Zorba Pastor. Stay well.
You may think of diabetes as a disease that affects older adults, but each year thousands of children are diagnosed. The disease can be especially hard to manage in kids because a strict food and insulin schedule is needed to keep blood sugar in check. 11-year-old Miranda has been a diabetic since she was 3. She's learned to give herself daily blood tests and insulin shots.
The syringe used to hurt, but that doesn't hurt anymore. What hurts is the insulin. For a minute, it'll ping through your body.
Kids can get very sick very quickly if their blood sugar drops. Parents of infants say you're constantly worried something's wrong.
If you see them crying, where most people could just say, oh, she's upset about something, where we have to think, boy, is she low on blood sugar or is something upsetting her? So right away we'll poke her finger.
Tonight on News 3 at 10, we'll learn how families had to change their lives to help children keep the disease in check.
Janet's forecast is coming up.
You're watching News 3 at 6 on WISC TV3.
The Save Commission's Challenge. Some tough choices in tonight's editorial following News 3 at 10.
Janet Pyatt's weather has the AMS seal of approval.
It's definitely days like today that make winter tolerable in Wisconsin. Our high today got all the way up to 52 after a low this morning of 30. And notice the normals for today, 36 and 20. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. Our record high is only 62, and that was from 1970. Right now, we're still at 48, 49 at the airport, 43 here at Channel 3. Winds are out of the south at 18, and the pressure is falling. Well, our temperatures from our weather spotters, all very nice. Everybody in a very good mood today. 54 on one of the warm spots from Monroe. 44, even that's above normal from Julie Talapa over at Muscadet. It was 50 in Waterloo and 52 this afternoon in Portage. Now remember, normal highs are 36 for today. As we head through January, normal highs drop to about 24 at the low spot. Normal lows drop to 7, and then we recover somewhat. So this is the actual winter outlook, as we call it, meteorological winter, December, January, and February. And we have a pretty good chance of having a mild winter here in the Midwest as well as the Southeast. In fact, looks like Florida might be a good place to go with below normal temperatures out toward the west. Precipitation-wise, we normally get about 27 inches of snow here in Madison. Not a lot in the rainfall total department, but looks like most of the heaviest activity will stay to the south, while as it looks like the northwest is supposed to be below normal. But of course, that's the area that's getting hit so hard these days with all the snow. So it looks as though things should be changing. We have another storm that's pushing eastward across the northern United States. You can see as it's moved eastward, everything is kind of stretched out. Clouds here are real thin, and you are able to see the sun through it. As you can tell, clouds across Wisconsin today, but yet we still were able to see the sunset. So no moisture really to associate with this, so no rain or snow expected, at least for the next little while. As you can also see, a lot of high pressure producing very mild temperatures, and that looks as though that will continue as the front will stay to our north during the day tomorrow, bringing our temperatures back into the middle 50s. Our forecast for tonight is looking for partly cloudy skies and a low temperature at 34. Remember, our normal high is 35, so we're closing in on that. For tomorrow, all the way up to 55 with partly sunny skies, southwest winds 10 to 20. 39 for the low tomorrow night, and on Saturday, clouds will be a little thicker, so it should be a bit cooler, and our high temperature then at 50. That front, as I talked about, should slide to our south eventually. I don't know for sure that it will actually occur on Sunday, but I will say that when it does happen, it will cool off. So there's still hope for the second half of the weekend, but the first half looks okay.
But for now, it's spring in December.
Yes.
Thanks, Janet.
Sure.
Learning about how a business works.
And getting into the holiday spirit at the same time. 7 Wisconsin residents, including Judy Hilmer of Madison, came very close to the $100 million Powerball prize last night. Hilmer collecting $100,000 for matching 5 of the 6 numbers. A person in Indiana and Nebraska will split the jackpot. Wisconsin residents spent more than $5.1 million on tickets for yesterday's drawing. From these sales, more than $1.3 million was paid out. Other interesting Powerball facts from yesterday: players in all the states bought up 61% of the 55 million numerical combinations. And 61% of the sales from last night's drawing came yesterday. And finally, Saturday's jackpot is just a skimpy $3 million.
A ferry with 500 people has sunk off the Philippines after being hit by a freighter. Some have been rescued. We'll update that at 10. And here's Beth with a preview of what else is coming up.
Hi, John and Katie. Even though it's 50 degrees, it is time to think about alternate side parking in many communities. However, in the Isthmus of Madison, there's a change this year. We'll explain what you can and can't do on the Night Beat at 10.
Thanks, Beth.
The Badgers plan their trip to Tampa.
And Monona Grove introduces a new coach. Sports is next.
Now, News 3's Angela Jacobs with sports.
The first chance for the Badgers to talk about Hall of Fame opponent Duke came today, but before they began, Barry Alvarez took a moment to announce staff changes. Kevin Cosgrove takes the defensive coordinator spot left empty by Dan McCarney's move to Iowa State. As far as the Blue Devils are concerned, no Badgers are taking the matchup with Fred Goldsmith's squad lightly.
He's done a great job. He's lost 2 games by 1 point. Took an 3-8 program and turned them completely around. They're ranked. We're not. You know, they're going down to prove that they belong there.
They're going to try to throw the ball around, and, you know, it's going to be a good test for the secondary and for the defense to see if we can stop them.
And the Blue Devils say they couldn't be happier about being part of this bowl.
I know we're just delighted to go to Tampa and represent the Atlantic Coast Conference, and we're going to go have a good time, but we will be prepared to play well.
Postseason laurels continue for senior center Corey Raymer. Raymer was named a first-team All-American by College Sports Magazine. In NFC action tonight, the Centrals, #1 Chicago, meets #2 Minnesota. Bears quarterback Steve Walsh is going for his 8th straight win in as many starts. But a Viking victory could boost the third-place Packers playoff hopes. ESPN will broadcast the game starting at 7. The basketball Badgers can breathe a little easier with the UW Green Bay game behind them. It wasn't pretty, but it was a win, and they can learn from the experience.
You got to play 40 minutes every single game, no matter who it is. UW Green Bay, Minnesota, Michigan. If you have a lead on somebody, you can't get complacent.
This was the last game of the series, and despite the fact Green Bay has never beaten Wisconsin, the Phoenix want to stay on the Badgers' schedule.
I look at the schedule and I say, oh yeah, I see we play Wisconsin here and we show up. I like the game. And that's pretty much the way it is, really. We'll do whatever they want to do.
So the ball rests in Bucky's yard regarding the future of this series. One thing you can bank on if they continue to play, it will be in Madison, and the reason is money. There's a changing of the guard at Monona Grove High School. For the first time in over a decade, there'll be a different head coach on the bench of the girls basketball team. Jeff Lenzen has the story.
He was a fixture at Monona Grove High School. For the past 11 years, Ken Evenstead was the girls' basketball coach. But after leading the Silver Eagles to the field house last season, Evenstead retired. This is Sam Matheson's team now.
Good job. Here we go. Flow down the floor. Flow down the floor.
I've just tried to come in and continue what Kent did, and he's established a great program here, and I just came in with the same type of expectations and tried to continue having the kids play hard, play smart, and play good basketball.
Matheson spent last year as Evenstead's assistant. That has made the transition to head coach much easier.
I learned a ton from Kent. He helped me a lot in helping to teach me things and to see different things. And now I got to know some of the kids, and I got some expectations for the kids.
And the Silver Eagle players knew who they wanted as their new coach when Evenstead decided to retire.
We all liked him when he came in as an assistant coach, so we all got used to him. And then when Evenstead said he was going to retire, I mean, I think everybody on the team wanted Mr. Matheson to take over because we all knew him, we all liked him a lot.
There are some noticeable differences in the coaching styles. Evenstead was more laid back. Matheson is more enthusiastic and vocal. He also brings a more up-tempo style of play.
We're a fast-paced team now, and last year we slowed it down and looked at things more, but now we have to work on our speed, and Mr. Matheson really works on that.
Matheson's debut as head coach was a rousing success. His team had an easy win against Madison Memorial. And in the short time that he's been at Monona Grove, he's learned all about the rich tradition of Silver Eagles basketball.
There is an expectation, which is nice. I mean, the kids know that they're coming into a winning program, and now I have to keep that up.
And Matheson would love to get back to the fieldhouse again, this time as a head coach. Jeff Lenzen, WISC News 3 Sports.
Well, good luck to him. Thanks, Angela. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Pick 3. Here are tonight's winning numbers. Catch Pick 3 and loads of excitement Monday through Sunday here on WISC TV3. Thanks for watching.
Teenagers in Oshkosh are getting into the holiday spirit.
They are. It all started with a business class that's brought shopping to little customers. It's called Secret Shopping, and it's just for kids. The store is run by high school students